thought we came out and played, really, really good team football for the first half. Our offense was fantastic, running the football, and Mike was 6 for 8 in the air. Really had a great rhythm to it. Toledo's offense, I think, was averaging 46 points a game. Defense held them to 3 points. So much of that to, special teams. Our goal was for them not to start on our side of the 50-yard line, which they had done a ton throughout the year. And in the first half, we accomplished that goal. So it was definitely a good first half. The third quarter wasn't bad. Came up empty on the points when we missed the field goal, drove the length. And then the fourth quarter did not go the way that we had wanted to. So even though it was a win, still kind of a bad taste, honestly, I think in the mouths of all of our guys. So got a lot to work on.
You look at it in the first half, you're able to run the ball certainly effectively. Toledo had given up 192 yards basically a game. You had them over 200 in the first half. What was the offensive line able to do against them?
Well, I think Coach Keene, Coach Meadows, and our offensive staff did a great job of scouting Toledo, obviously, and putting together a plan. Felt as though we liked the looks that we had, and again, I've said it a couple times, just the ability for the quarterback to keep a defense accountable and guessing just puts a lot of pressure on them, and so we weren't perfect in making all those reads, but Mike did a good job with making the reads and handing it when it needed to be handed and taking it when it needed to be took, and obviously it was very effective.
Speaking of Mike, we dug a long time back in the record books. We can't find a QB ever to have back-to-back 100-yard games in terms of rushing. What was he able to do specifically that keeps the defense kind of?
Well, you just have a read. I mean, it's in offensive football, anytime that you can put two guys on one, in terms of a read, you put them in that conflict or that tension, then you have to have the ability, whether it's a pass, or a run, to make a good decision and to execute it. And so, we were able to, manipulate, one of their defensive players on the zone run. And make a decision, and so that's what he was able to do. Now Mike's also, has the ability to make some guys miss too in the open field. He's not electric fast, but he's tough to tackle. And so, not all of those were just a straight shot, to the goal line. He made people miss too.
We talked a little bit in the post game about what Willie Parker was also able to do. The 50-yard run, just untouched, but one of those guys that gets lost in that stable of running backs that's done a really solid job when he gets the ball.
Yeah, I mean, Willie is explosive, runs hard, got a toughness about him, and we're hoping to see more of him.
Defensively, able to get another 4-sack performance out of your defense. Coach Nethery, in his tenure here, has been able to get sacks. What is the difference between sometimes being so close and finally closing that deal to get those sacks sometimes?
Well, they come about multiple ways. I mean, there's always scheme involved, but then there's also guys making plays and beating the one-on-one or whatever it is that they have. Our D-line, has a relentless pursuit, especially on the outsides, after the ball, whether it's the quarterback, running back, whatever it is. And when you drop back a fair number of times, I mean, they had 40 plays just in the first half. We've got some talented players out there that, again, are relentless, going to pursue the ball, and good things are going to happen. I will say that, their quarterback, definitely kept him in the game and then brought him back because of his feet. He's talented with his feet, and it hurt us.
You mentioned in your opening statement, Jesse Kelly. He's not the only guy out there on kickoffs, but people forget that he's pretty talented when it comes to it. At his craft, putting people in difficult positions to return kicks.
Yeah, the last 2 games he's played really, really well, and we've needed him to because there's been some dynamic returners on both of those teams, and I think Toledo was averaging over 30 yards a return, and we were averaging giving up only about 15 and a half. And again, so something was going to have to give, and we felt really good about our kickoffs performance.
This week, a Ball State team, you look in the mirror, your teams are very similar. They've had a lot of one-score games, your team one-score games. What has impressed you about Coach New's ball club?
Well, I just said this to those guys in the off season that, I knew from the outside, anybody doesn't know their program, you look at the record and the scores, and I've known all along that that's not them, and they were decimated by injury last year, and I thought did a phenomenal job of competing and staying together and continuing to grow as a program. And so, again, I knew in the offseason that Ball State was going to be the team that so many people are going to be talking about, because they were going to be surprised at how much better they were, and we weren't going to be surprised, and we're not surprised. They're very different. They've changed their defense schematically, and they're playing really good defense. And then with Riley Neal and all the folks that they had injured, returning with another good year of recruiting and whatnot, another year in the program with his standards and expectations, not surprised at all. It was, I think, game 2 where they were right with Notre Dame all the way through, and people are all, and I started shaking my head. They're very well coached, and they're talented. And I think there are some similarities, not just our records, but they know that they're a good football team, and that they're going to be very competitive in every game. And if they play really well, they're going to win. And if they don't, then it's going to be hard to win. That's exactly what I talk about with our team. If we're playing well in all 3 phases and hard for 3.5 hours, then we're going to have a good chance to beat anybody. And if we fall short of that, then it's not going to go our way. So it's going to be a competitive battle.
After a win over Toledo, something that the program's worked really hard for, how do you balance being proud of what you had done last week and using that also as fuel of what didn't go well in Toledo towards Ball State?
Well, it's a good question. I just think that that happens organically in a week like this, where sometimes there's wins that they're euphoric, and that people just kind of lose it in the locker room, and it's just but we did not play the way that we wanted to, in that fourth quarter. And so here we are. Defense does an unbelievable job. I put them in a terrible position at the end. So they go down and they score, and they're going for a 2-point conversion to take us to overtime, and we make a great play to knock that ball down. But just the fact that we were in that position, after dominating them for 3 quarters of a game, it leaves a taste of of dissatisfaction. The object of the game is always to win, but the goal or the purpose for us is not just to win, but to play our best football. And those are 2 different things. And winning can be a byproduct of going after being your best, but you can also win and fall short, obviously, of being your best. And so the balancing that you're talking about, again, I think it's a really good question, but I'm not having to use smoke and mirrors with our guys about, getting back to work and being hungry to get better for this week. We are very thankful that we won. There's no doubt. I haven't won, like you said, since 2006, and they're the defending MAC champs. Got a ton of respect for them as a program. So we're not just brushing all of that off. There was some backslapping for sure. But the bottom line is that we've not played an entire game the way that we're capable of playing, and our guys know that. We know it as coaches, and we think that we got a chance to be a good football team, and we're going to keep pursuing that.